Thought I'd send a few units, try and distract him a bit, but this turret spotted me. And turrets are lethal against tanks.
Control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game on Scorched Earth map. I'm using Russia and my opponent's using England, and this is the second game of 3 against my second opponent from the last post. My opponent for these 3 games is called Jinx, and the first game that was in my last post, it was a second replay of the last post. That was game 1 of these 3. And obviously, if you've seen the last post, you'll know what happened for game 1. If you haven't, I won't spoil it for you, but this is game 2. So here we go. I'm sending out my usual 4 rifles, and because of what happened in game 1, I'm using my normal build for this game, and my first rifles I've only allowed 2 to move on. The rest I've moved to protect my engineer, and my opponent is moving up this way, and obviously I found nothing with my 2 forward rifles, but here looks like my opponent's trying to go for the back of the oil derrick. The engineer's taken out straight away, and it looks like one of my riflemen was as well. So my opponent doesn't look like he's trained an engineer, but he's taken mine out. I've captured an oil derrick and then lost my engineer. It's a shame, that. So I'm grouping all my rifles together, except these 3. Obviously they're protecting my base. And we're almost at the 2-minute mark. My opponent's churning out some units. Looks like he's got rocket soldier training now. No, it was a medic. And I've taken position up at the hospital, but I've trained a new engineer and I'm sending him to capture this second oil derrick. And he's escorted by a few rifles, make sure. There's a couple of medics for my opponent. I've fallen back to the view range of my oil derrick. I'll make my stand there if he attacks. And my engineer has been misclicked. I was meant to send a rifleman to guard here, and I've ordered the engineer by accident. So see how long it takes me to realise. There you go, I've noticed straight away, thankfully, but it's enough time was wasted still. Now my opponent doesn't appear to have an engineer. He's building ore trucks and a refinery. There's an engineer. So he's ordered it to capture the oil derrick, then go for the hospital in the centre. Now I can see 4 rocket troops for the enemy. That's a threat to my APC. But I'm moving in straight away as soon as I've got my APC, look. And there we go, we've cleared this area. My APC has got 0 health pretty much. And I've captured the hospital, but my opponent's capturing his first oil derrick. I've captured 2, and I'm bringing my engineer to the hospital. I need to get that APC, leave it out over there so I can repair it when I finally place my service depot, which should be now. There you go. Place the service depot. And after the second ore truck is built, I should be building my MCV. This is my standard build order, like I say. So I've got 3 refineries, my war factory, you know, my service depot for an early MCV and expansion. But I've captured the hospital, but I'm still falling back because I need a vehicle with my troops. So I've decided to fall back until I've got all my assets together, all the basic elements that I need. So I've got the view range from the hospital and the APC. It'd be lucky to push through here. And my opponent's got 5,300, I've got 6,300. Here's an attack. So I need my troops in a better position. My opponent's still got his engineer there, he's left it idle. Yeah, he's getting away now. No, he didn't move far enough away. And I've got to watch out the view range bonus from the oil derrick, because it'll give him a big advantage against my troops if he can see them before I engage. And I ran into the rocket troops and the engineer survived. I lost a big chunk of units, and it's the view range from the oil derrick and the ranger that did that. The rangers survived, and I've got to fall back. I've abandoned the hospital. My engineer's running, but I'm falling back because I want this tank with me. Now he's pushing his attack. I've got my expansion about to be set up. Now he's pressed it too far, because my tank can now screen every shot he can make, while my infantry just destroy his troops. But I am wary of these rocket soldiers. I've got to watch out for them, because I don't want to lose this tank. Now, here comes my engineer with me again, and there's my expansion, look, set up there. And my opponent's at 4,000 army value, I'm at 6,900. There's another heavy tank trained. And I'm building another refinery, I'm assuming. I should at this point be moving out to either here or here. But my opponent, I didn't destroy my opponent's army, he fell back with what he had left. So I'm capturing this oil derrick. Oh, my heavy tank's too close. Big trouble. But luckily I knew this was a bad situation, because he's got a tank for screening and the view range of that. But luckily I just managed to take that, and I've got tanks up front close. I should have stopped those troops from moving. But a few rifles, as long as you've got a few, it's enough to defeat a force of this size. Now my opponent's expansion's here. And I thought I'd attack and try and attack this ore field. So my tanks are obviously targeting his tanks, but I need more troops here quickly. And I placed another refinery here just to get one placed quickly and increase my income. But I haven't got a large force, but there's a few heavy tanks, so I thought I'm gonna attack this ore field, and my opponent's bringing his forces there to defend it. I'm at 11,000 army value, my opponent's at 5, but it looks like he's got a larger army here, and I thought, right, this is bad, there's too much here, too much. And after a certain point, I decided to call it off, this attack, I mean, not the game, I'm calling it off, look, that's enough, because I've lost all my tanks up front. I need to get these guys in position quickly and fall back to here. Now my opponent's at 6,800, I'm at 8.5. Now my opponent's got a slight lead in army value now, by 1,000. But he shouldn't be attacking me here. I've got defences, unit infantry production and tanks, so that's no good. Now I can attack him because he's got no tanks to defend them. And I'm moving this, because I've got an expansion set up here. My engineer's still alive. But I didn't want to just move and engage in the same place again here. Because look, he sent his units back there to continue this back and forwards business. So I thought, right, I'm changing it up. I'm going to move these units over here to attack at this side. But he's completely mined that out. I haven't even mined that much. So he did well with his mining. But I thought I'd send a few units, try and distract him a bit. But this turret spotted me. And turrets are lethal against tanks. So he's gathered his forces here straight away, look. There's too much again, it's too much for me to push through there, so I had to fall back, and I'm thinking, right, this actually isn't good, because I'm using there's a tank and it got destroyed. I was looking for his expansion here, and I wondered what destroyed it. It should have told me that he had an attack coming, and it didn't. I just thought, oh right, where is it? And I thought it had been destroyed here, attacking here, but I obviously missed that. And if I hadn't, I would know he's got an attack force, because look, there's nothing defending this base. And my opponent's at 14,000 army value, I've just reached 10. My opponent's at 15,7. Now I'm at 10, so he's got a far better army than I have. I didn't realise, and he's got mechanics to bring back destroyed vehicles and repair damaged ones. He's got a small force here, but without vehicles, it's no bother. That looks like, I'm assuming that's a repair job, yep. So I'm trying to place base defences and stuff. Let's have a look at our economies. My opponent's got 2.5 grand nearly. I've got 10 grand, so I'm doing okay for cash. And I'm still behind in army value. My opponent's at 19.5. I'm at 13,000, 14,000 in army value. So my opponent is like, he's done well here. He's taken those attacks and actually got a better army than me. But he needs vehicles with these guys. The furthest I'd go is here to take out all trucks that stray too close. And there you go, look, I've got units moving out. Here's an attack. And I've got troops arriving. I'm capturing this. And I've got very few tanks there, look, but I've got a frontline war factory which will save me. And all my troops and veterans, look at those wrecked units. And now I've got tanks joining me up front. Very nice, that's changed the situation and the army values. And I'm bringing in MCV. My opponent's at 10,000, I'm at 13 now. And I'm continuing my attack and getting this tank up front. Now it looks like we've got some trouble. My opponent's got an eco raid here, so I'm producing rocket troops and flame towers. He's destroyed my ore truck, but he's destroyed another ore truck, so I'm just continue to expand. That's what I'm going to do. And continue my attack here. I've got my construction yard with me, and I've overwhelmed his base very nicely, and I've got enough resources on this half of the map to survive. So I'm gonna buy time here by letting him fight his way through this base while I also defend it, but I'm continuing to expand. Look, my opponent's doing the same. He's gone to the same ore patch, but he's also here. So, rather than move on and leave a war factory behind, I thought I'd destroy it or capture it, but he's selling his ore trucks, look. I mean, his refineries. And I've got thieves on the way. And look, my opponent's construction yard's set up. And he's going for the radar dome, which is why I tried to build thieves while I could. And without vehicles, this attack force is very little threat. I didn't realise it was such a weak attack force. And I don't want to destroy that war factory, I want to capture it. And my thieves are moving this way. Look, my MCV's vulnerable there, but I've seen what's going on and I'm sending forces. Yeah, my opponent's not got a lot of cash. There, I'm capturing the war factory and protecting it. Now I'm infiltrating, although he's very low for cash. I've overrun everything, stopped his attack force, and he's called it. He was probably right to at that point. Look, I've got 4 war factories. That's as fast as you can build vehicles once you've got 4. You can't build them any faster. You can build more war factories, so you can build them in different places by selecting which one is your primary. But once you have 4 war factories, that's as fast as your vehicles can be built. But you need 7 barracks, you need 7 MCVs, and 7 airfields, as far as I know, to get the fastest production speed. But when it comes to war factories, you only need 4. But I'll go through the graphs and charts quickly, and then move on to game 3. But look at that, my opponent's army value is way above mine. And then after this combat, he's suffered massive losses. Very effective. It was this battle over here that did it. That was the serious engagement of the game. And it shows you in the army graph, look, that was a good struggle. And there's the earnings graph. Yeah, fairly even, but I was ahead towards the end. My finishing army, not many tanks, 5 I think, roughly by the looks of that. Yep, there's 5 there. 2 engineers, I've got a few troops. So only basic units left. I've got a 17,500 army value, little more. My opponent killed 191 units. I killed 258. My opponent destroyed 47,000 credits worth of my assets. I destroyed 61,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets. And I don't have support powers, sadly. I did have a radar dome, but it was destroyed by that small attack force. It did extremely well. For such a small force with no vehicles, it did extremely well. It nearly completely disrupted my attack and everything. I wasn't sure what to do. Production, still built. I need power plants, flamethrower soldier, and base defense is being built. I've got 6 ore trucks left because he did kill a couple. And I've got 3 oil derricks because I also captured this one towards the end. During that large engagement here, I was capturing this. I earned 111,000, my opponent earned 75,000, and I've got 20,000 and a half credits at the end. My opponent's got nearly a couple of grand. I was at 34 actions per minute. My opponent was at 26 actions per minute. And there's your scores. 488 to my opponent, 788 to me. And that was game 2 for you. So I'm going to add the second replay, game 3, to this same post. So hang on one moment and I'll start that one for you. So here we go.
Battle control initialized.
Right, this is a 1v1 multiplayer game on Argon map, and as it was the decider, I decided to use Russia, no messing around, and my opponent used Russia, and I'm using my standard build order with Russia, and I know this map. My opponent selected the first map, which was Trapped, I believe, and then the second game I selected Scorched Earth. And for this game, my opponent selected the map, so he got to decide the final map for our third game. And this is it. This is the last one. Now, my opponent's sending out his stream of rifles, and it looks like he's going for this oil derrick. Now, what I did was send a few lone riflemen to individual oil derricks. There are 4 oil derricks, one here, 2, 3, 4, and there's a hospital in the centre. So when I sent my engineer to the closest oil derrick and the majority of my troops, I wanted to place rifles at the other oil derricks just to see where my enemy was focusing his forces, because I didn't want him gaining an early advantage in this one. But Argon map that we're using, I do like this one. I haven't played on it for a while, and I didn't choose it, but I don't mind this map. It's okay. It's a decent desert map. And I've got a presence, or I will have, at all 4 oil derricks, although this guy's been shot, and the hospital. Now, I've captured an oil derrick, and I'm now capturing the hospital. But I know my opponent's got units there, because I lost a rifleman, which is why I'm gathering all the rifles I can to protect the engineer, just in case my opponent wants to attack. Now, my opponent's actually trained a couple of flamethrower soldiers. He's got a flame tower there. So, he's trained a couple of flamethrower soldiers. It's, you know, they're worth a few riflemen each. So, at this early game, it's a risk, and I've got the hospital view range. Now, they did fire a shot, a second shot, and it suppresses your infantry really well, flamethrower guys. Flamethrower troops. Very good at suppressing enemy infantry, but they were just, with no view range bonus from a scout vehicle, he had no hope. And the enemy engineer's having to turn round and run. He's training units, but he's got very few. That was a bad start for my opponent. It was the risk you take. He went for that flame tower and flamethrower troops. It would have been great if he, you know, if they attacked me or hit me at the right time or the right position, because you can burn structures apart with flamethrower troops really quickly. But as it is, it didn't work, and I'm capturing my second oil derrick now, and I've got the hospital as well. I'm guarding the 2 corner oil derricks as well with riflemen. So I've definitely got the stronger position and a far stronger army. I've got the good advantage. Although I wasn't going to get lazy and let my opponent recover, I wanted to make sure that without taking risks, I'm securing these oil derricks, all of them if possible. And by doing that, I've got the advantage. I know I've defeated his small starting army, so I've got an advantage in units and in oil derricks. And, you know, I didn't want to push it and mess it up, but at the same time, I'm maintaining my advantage. And I left my engineer behind with the APC. I intended to take him, and I left him behind. Silly APC. But there you go. He's inside the APC now, and is what I'm thinking is I want to capture this corner oil derrick. Hurry up. That's why my infantry have fallen back, and they're using the view range of the hospital. Because my opponent's got his scout vehicle, look. He's actually got an engineer inside it. He's got a couple of rocket troops and a flamethrower. There, I've dropped off my engineer. He needs to start capturing that and then be on shift command to move over here. But the APC should be back with my troops, because I can see this. I know he's capturing. So he's taken an oil derrick from me, and he's put his engineer back inside his APC. But I'm not going to do that. My engineer has been set to shift command, look, to move over here once he's captured this. So at this point, I'm leaving it at 2 oil derricks, soon to be 3, hopefully, because I want to retake this. There you go, spotted that. And now he's fighting without his APC, so his troops are doomed. Now he's coming back, which is even worse, because now he won't catch my engineer. There you go, look. Caught him out. And that APC should not have engaged. I took out the APC and the engineer. And now I'm cutting down all his troops as they've run. That's an even worse start. Plus, I can now retake the oil derrick here. So I'm bringing back my engineer, sending the APC just to move him that bit more quickly. And now I'm producing heavy tanks. This is my standard build order. And there's my opponent. He's moving with his expansion there. And I wasn't expecting him to do that. So I'm at 13,000 army value. My opponent's at 3,500 army value. So he's in a bad situation. And I'm in control of 2 oil derricks, and I'm capturing his only 1. So I'll have 3 soon. 3-0. Although he's managed to sneak past his second MCV, and he's sneaked past my first expansion. That was nicely done. I had no idea he was there. And he's got a barracks straight away. And there's my eco transfer, look. I could have lost all these ore trucks if he'd have trained 5 rockets and put them there. It's possible he could have destroyed some before I even realised. Now I'm sending my APC for repairs. There's my engineer running to safety. But I'm also training 5 grenadiers. I thought I haven't hit my opponent with a gren drop for the last couple of games. So it's only right that I use it at least once. Because gren drops are a favourite tactic of mine. There you go, I'm bringing my MCV forward. And my army. I know he's been suffering losses all the way. So he's in big trouble. I'm focusing my full army, advancing with all the elements I need. I've got a gren drop as well. He's doomed. Now he's sending these over here. So he's got vehicles with this infantry force. That's excellent. It makes it into a far more effective force. Plus he's got build radius and base defences and production. So this is actually a threat. And there you go, look. I'm sending some units to respond. Plus my main army's attacking his base, and here's my gren drop. So my opponent's in a bad way. And this is, like I say, this is game 3. There's a Tesla coil trying its best, and there's my gren drop. The APC is in position. They're getting out and targeting the power plant, service depot, then the war factory. And I'm destroying his construction yard. I've fought off his attack, no problem. I've got tanks, base defences, far better view range. There's nothing he can do there, he's doomed. And my gren drop, I've blocked his war factory so he can't build vehicles, and my opponent's called it. And that was the shortest of the 3 games, I think it was. So I'll just go through the graphs and charts for you. There's the army graph. My opponent struggled, so he had a few real bad setbacks early on. At least 2 or 3, serious setbacks that you don't need early on. And then the final crushing blow when I attacked. Now, there's my opponent's earnings graph. That's pretty even all the way. He's done well with his earnings. My army, some heavy tanks. What's that, about 5? Something like that, yeah. And I've got my APC. My engineer's still alive. Some grenadiers still alive, because they were only used at the end. They only got a structure or 2. But I've got some infantry, some basic troops. Combat chart, I've got a 22,000 army value at the end. That's not bad. But my opponent killed 24 of my units. I killed 100 of theirs. My opponent destroyed 7,400 of my credits worth of my assets. I destroyed 27,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets. No support powers in effect because I haven't got a radar dome yet. Or an airfield. And production, I'm making some more barracks. Standard stuff, heavy tanks, you know, the basics. And I've got 4 ore trucks. So my opponent did some good damage here with at my main expansion. When he set up that expansion here, he did some good damage. I'm down to 4 ore trucks, so he's got a few of them at least, I should say. 2 or 3 perhaps. But my opponent earned 42,000 credits in that game. I earned 49,000, so we were close for earnings. And I've got 3 oil derricks still. So all the oil derricks I captured I hung on to, even if I did have to retake them. My opponent's got a few grand, I've got just nearly 5, so we're okay for cash. It wasn't about that. Basics, my opponent was at 25 actions per minute, I was at 32 actions per minute. And there's the scores, basics, and there's the third of 3 games. So I hope you enjoyed what you saw. It was good fun for me. It was a good game, good opponent, and I got to try my Mammoth Tank Tech build in one of the games and my first game before it. So if you like what you saw, give us a sub and a like, and take good care of yourselves. And until next time, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.